Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sunday night at 9. Glad to see everybody's here. Oh, we started already. Welcome, everybody. Welcome,
Hello,
Angela,
Ava.
Ava, Cheryl, and my co-host, Coach Glenda. Are you ready for an exciting night tonight? We
Yes.
have gotten a real great topic tonight. Tonight, making your partnership stronger is going to prove to be an excellent topic because we've spent so much time talking about what it is to be in a relationship that you're having problems with or struggling in a relationship. We also had a relationship checkup, but nowhere have we had a strategy session to try to fix some of these things. How can we make that partnership and relationship stronger? That's what the night topic is going to be tonight. So get ready, relax, and just have yourself a great time because it's going to be awesome. First, let's start. All right, once again, my name is Rufus Carpenter. I'm the host of this, and my co-host, Coach Glenda. What our goal is to do is to actually put together a place where you can come and you can be yourself and you can just enjoy. You can speak your truth. You can just really let go. This is like, imagine 20 of your girlfriends sitting in your living room and you guys are very comfortable. You know each other. You got together just so you can talk about relationships. There's something on your mind and you just want to bare your soul and just let everybody know. And you want to work on the things that you have that may be important to you. But at the same time, when you release your truth, you're unaware of the people that need what you have to give. You might be setting someone else free. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Now, once again, my name is Rufus Carpenter, and let me tell you why I'm here. My relationship coaching started a long time ago. I came into this space a little different than most. My journey started as a very young person from a family of 14 kids. And in my family of 14 kids, we were in a 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom. So if you can think about 14 people, well, really 16 people, because my mother and father were together in a 3-bedroom, only 1 bathroom. And that's not the hard part. The hard part is, can you imagine sleeping with 4 of your siblings in the same bed? And oh Lord, if one of them occasionally wet in the bed or bedwetter, you got some issues. So you learn very fast what it is to be part of a relationship with a human connection. You learn that very fast. Fast forward, I was married 27 years to the same lady. And in that marriage, we had our ups and downs like everybody else, but it was a learning time for me. You know, you can say my wife kind of finished raising me a little bit, but in that time, I've learned a lot about communication. I learned an awful lot about trust. I learned an awful lot about what it is to compromise. And these things are great for a successful marriage, but these things also are great for a better and a deeper human connection. So these are the traits and the things that you need to do. But it didn't stop there. My journey didn't stop there neither. I went into the United States Army, and in the Army, I was trained as a equal opportunity, race relation, and relationship coach and leader. And there I was able to put skills to work in a whole different environment. So tonight I feel comfortable bringing the male perspective to this conversation. And Coach Glenda, she's going to bring the female perspective, and you, the audience, going to bring the questions, the comments, and you're going to share your truths. So let's get ready. Tonight's subject: making your partnership stronger. It's time to thrive. When I say that, what comes to mind when I say that? When I say that, for me, what comes to mind is, what are some of the things that I can actively do to make my relationship better? Now, I know some of the questions you guys saying right now that, hey, look, I'm not in a relationship, so really, why should I listen? And I know you're saying, so it don't pertain to me. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And here's why pertaining to you. Where you're in between relationships or out of relationship or don't think you need a relationship, this is the fertile ground for you to learn the things it takes to make your relationship stronger. And you don't know who you're going to coach or who you're going to mentor. What young lady or what young man you might mentor about relationships. And there's another side that we're not going to discuss tonight. And here's the side that we're not going to discuss tonight. But here's part 2 of what we're talking about right now. If you're not in a relationship, what is a perfect time to wait? How do you handle that wait? And that's another subject for another day. So we're not going to talk about that subject. We're not going to talk about how you wait. That's not tonight. Tonight is how do you go in and purposely make a relationship stronger? How do you thrive? How do you thrive? Two people. How do these two people come together and strive? Now, Glenda, when I say two people coming together, striving at making a partnership stronger, what are the first things that jump in your mind?
Communication and
Oh man, communication is one of the cornerstones. If you had to put a three-legged stool and put a relationship or partnership on it, communication would definitely be one of those legs in the stool. So that's great. That is a great start, Glenda. So that's great. Now,
I did say, Mr. Carpenter, I did say commitment as well.
Okay, so you gave me two. Okay.
I thought you said you wanted more than one. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. Okay. You're trying to take it from my audience. Hey, let them get it by. You're right. You're right. It is. That's one of the things. Tonight, our journey is going to be about love. It's going to be about compassion. And it's going to be understanding your roles. What is your role in a relationship? What's the man's role in a relationship? And what's the woman's role in a relationship? Or what's the role of partner 1 in a relationship? And what's the role of partner 2 in a relationship? And the first leg of that is you have to understand your roles. That's the first thing. And for Black Americans, that's even a more dynamic thing because you're going to find out that there are some things that we have to deal with that other races don't deal with. And that's about the third section of this conversation tonight. And when we get in that section, there are some very definite things I want to bring out. Because when we talk about why relationships fail, I know a lot of you say that we don't communicate right, or we're not compromising, or the trust is not there. And you think about the things that's happening inside. A lot of times it's not always what's going on inside. It's not always love. Because sometimes, like the lady said, what love got to do with it? I'm just having fun, so bear with me. The night is a great night. Okay?
Can I say something?
Who said something?
Something on when you first started, the question when you first started. I think that on purpose, the couple need to have self-care for the relationship that you should have on a consistent basis, whether it's once a month, twice a month, but I think like a date night, something that you work everything else around that. That's a priority. It's like self-help, self-care for the relationship.
That's good. You're right. Self-care. But self-care first starts with self. Let's take the self part of it. Let's do self-care of yourself. Because if you take care of yourself, you've taken care of 50% of the relationship right there.
Right.
So if you take care of yourself, go ahead. You said something, Andrew?
But I'm talking about the relationship.
Right.
On purpose, on a consistent basis. Maybe once a month, y'all have a date night out.
You're correct. And what I was saying is, go ahead, Angela. I didn't hear all of that. I apologize.
I'm done.
Okay. Okay. And you're right. The self-care first is the self-care of the individuals, both. So you take care of yourself first, and then you do self-care for your relationship. And that's the date nights, that's the doing spontaneous things, that's doing projects together, that's going to doing the traveling, and that's getting to see the world, or however that is, whatever that looks like for you and your boo and you and your significant other. So you're right. That's 100% right, Angela. So I appreciate that. Now, what I'm going to be doing is, and the whole time I'll be interjecting short sentences in this, because I want to kind of like spirit on a little bit. Because once again, it may not just be about love. It's about building a legacy together. Because you got to realize something. Your family, your kids, your next generation is all built on what foundation you lay for it right now. So if mom and dad are completely in love and having this great life, that's the first leg of that legacy. And then your kids, if you make sure you work with your kids and your kids work and they have a great relationship, their kids can have a great relationship. So that legacy starts with us on this line, us on this call right now. If we can work on ourselves, because nobody can fix you. No, you don't, your husband can't fix you, your wife can't fix you, your partner can't fix you. You have to do the work yourself. But you got to purposely do the work. It's not going to accidentally fall on you. You're not going to wake up one day and say, well, dang, I just made myself better. No, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. And the first leg is understanding your role in that partnership. If your role in the partnership is to take care of the house and take care of the kids, that's your role. If your role is to go to work and bring the money, that's your role. If your role is the one that plans all the vacations, if your role is the one that pick the houses you guys buy, if your role is to pick the investments that you guys get on, if your role is deciding what things we do in the weekend, if your role is deciding what we do for entertainment, if your role is how we set up our romantic, intimate times in the bedroom, hey, that's your role. Have it. You know, you got to understand your role. And I'm having fun, but you got to understand your role. Okay? Now, recognizing your strengths in the unity. What are your strengths? A lot of times, a lot of people don't want to come from out of the shadows. A lot of times, if you're stronger than me and you think you're overpowering me, you lay back and want to let me lead. When really, I might be making a mess of being a leader. Instead of you come and say, hey, look, this is my strength, let me lead, you let me make a mess out of it. And then you come to me and say, well, what the heck you done now? You got to understand your strengths in that relationship. And once you understand your strengths, you guys can grow together because the both of you guys are stronger than you individually. So understand your strength. And like you say, Glenda, embrace communication. Communication, listen, speak, and understand each other's perspectives. That's the key. Understand your perspective, because we all see the world differently. We might be, like, for instance, my sister's on the line, Annette. Hey, Annette, how you doing? She's on the line, and Annette might have a different perspective than I have about life. So I can't judge her on her perspective thinking that it's my perspective. I've got to talk to her and ask her, what's your perspective on life, and see what's common ground. In relationships, not always husband and wife or boo and booette or whatever. It may be a sibling. It may be a job relationship. It may be a relationship with you and your neighbor or someone else in the community. These same rules that we're talking about tonight applies. The same exact rules, okay? Now, anybody want to add anything before I go any further?
No, Professor.
So watch it. No, because tonight is the night that we want to get these strategies in place. Because a lot of times we say, here's the problems. We don't talk about how to fix them. We don't have meaningful, intentional strategies to fix it. So that's what the night is. And then you got to realize something. We, as being Black Americans, we got to honor our traditions. And a lot of us don't know what our culture and traditions are, because there's so much bombardment with TV, commercials, music, rap, all these things. And sometimes we think these things are our tradition, where they're really not. I can remember a time whenever you passed a Black person on the street, you spoke, whether you knew them or not. You spoke, or you nodded the head, or you did some gesture to let them know that you noticed them. Do you still do that? Glenda, you still do that?
Not to strangers.
But there's a time, can you remember a time when you did that to strangers?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm talking about. So that used to be our culture. That used to be a cultural norm for us, because a lot of white people just say, you know that? Did you know him?
Right.
Yeah, I knew he's Black. That's what I knew. That's what I told.
Kids do that most of the time, though.
Yes, yes. And those thing about those honored traditions and our cultural norm and heritage, those things are the things that bond us together. And those are our identities. That's how we know each other. You know, we used to love each other. The man used to love the woman, and the woman used to love the man, and a man would do anything for his woman. If it used to be a time that if a man, we used to dress up a lot. The men, well, black people in general used to dress up. The women and the men used to dress up. And the man used to be, whenever the man would have his woman, whoever his woman was, and he'd go in the room, and his woman head would be down, she'd be looking down, or she would frown a little bit. Her man would go in and want to start a fight with somebody, because who done upset his woman? Because if somebody upset his woman, they upset him. So his thing was
back in the day.
His thing was who said something cross you, baby? Who got you upset? That used to be a culture. That used to be part of us. It used to be a thing. If we shook a man's hand, we wouldn't talk to his girlfriend or his woman. Go ahead, Anna. You want to say something, Anna?
Oh no, I was eating a chip. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, but these are some of our cultures we're not even aware of anymore, that were a part of our heritage. And these things, we always respected our women. We always put our women first. We always saw our women as our mothers, as our grandmothers, as our sisters, as our aunties. And a woman always respected her man because she knew that was a breadwinner. For most cases, that was the strength of the family. She knew that her family legacy and stuff rests on that man's shoulder.
Right. Where are those days at now?
Yeah. Let somebody share. Somebody on the audience. Do you know what I'm talking about now? Or am I just talking?
No, you're not just talking to be talking.
Somebody from our audience, you want to share? Well, I don't think we got no shares tonight, so let's continue. Okay. Go ahead, Angela.
No, I didn't. I've not been able to experience that, so I guess I skipped over.
Okay, all right.
She's listening. She's waiting for her cue.
I'm listening.
Okay. All right.
But we're talking about. I thought about Jennifer Holiday. I just happened to view something of hers last night. And when she was saying, "You're gonna love me, you're not going nowhere. I'm not waking up tomorrow without you." So I do know that they had this love relationship. It's a part of our culture that we've had from early on. And I guess life have just kept lifing, and we've just come into a different era. And it's like what used to be, it's not happening anymore.
It isn't.
Because all the things of life, I guess, because of everything that's going on and the pressure.
Yes, and that's going to be in our third part of the night. We're going to talk about that, what you just brought up, and you brought up an important thing, because a lot of our old soul music talked about love and talked about relationships. And that's how, to be honest with you, that's why I used to get my little game from when I was a kid. I used to listen to the radio. Hey, man, that used to be, back then we used to say, give me a chance. And that used to be the way our words, that's where we got our love language. Our love language was what we heard of Temptations and Smokey Robinson and the Dells.
You letting people know your age, Mr. Carpenter.
Now, y'all know some of them songs too now. Come on now. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one here. So those were that's how we got our love language from that. And that's how we learned to love, because that's what we were. We always cared. We always pulled together. Because we never had anything of our own. The only thing we had was our love and care for each other. That's the only thing we had. Everything else took from us. So that's all we had. And we loved each other for that. All right, let's continue to march here.
Something.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I feel like in today's time, it appears like the man and or woman don't really know their place as a man or a woman. I think they kind of like the woman kind of comes in my perspective. I think the woman kind of comes in and she's sort of, even though she's a woman, but she's kind of like masculine. And the man is kind of like on the feminine side. And when I say that, I mean as far as the aggressiveness or however the relationship I really see where the men's, I do see some, but not many men that step in as a man, a provider, I'm gonna make this happen. See women doing this. Hey, I'm gonna make this happen. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I think they don't kind of understand or accept their position based on their what is it, based on their
Tradition and,
race.
and cultural heritage. Yep, you're correct.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to really love. Their version of love is what they've seen on TV and
No.
what they experienced in that little short life. Because now the young ladies, as well as young men, they're turning to each other. A lot of young ladies in their teens and 20s and early 30s and early 20s, they're saying, man, I'm tired of this mess. I'm going to turn to a woman because the men ain't no good.
Yeah.
They're not loving. They cheat and all this stuff. And hey, it's easier for me to find a woman, someone that share my pain. So this is very
I'm gonna
common
say
now. So, who said that?
Can I say one other thing? I'm gonna
Yes.
say one other thing. It's like social media, and we are exposed to so much social media.
Mm-hmm.
Social media brings that to light. Social media today makes it seem like, hey, this is all right. This is the way we need to conduct business. This is the way life needs to be. What
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about seems to be ancient, like ancient Egypt time or something like that. But today, they're thinking different. We on this line with you in this chat or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, we understand what you're saying, but the world is not bringing that now. I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess what we need to do is set a legacy. It's like, I don't have to be strong. If you're strong in that area, I may be strong in another. It's like a give and take.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Yeah.
things used to be years ago. I don't have to be good at that, good at that. So you're going to handle that and I'm going to fall back. And of course, I'm learning. I'm not just being passive. I'm learning. So if when I do have to step up, but if for some reason, you fall back in that area that you're so good in, then I can because I've learned it. You've left a legacy for me. So we've got to, in turn, go back to the basics so that the younger people can see and experience. And it got to start in the homes. It got to start in the mom and dad relationship so that the kids can see that relationship is important to you, so much so that you're going to take time out of your schedule just for the two of you. And I'm saying you're doing that once a month. That's what I want to emulate in my relationship. So.
And a lot of our kids don't understand relationship is work. They don't understand the proper work that make relationships work. They don't understand. They think it's going to the movies, or they think it's having money to buy your dress or something like that. They think that's the relationship work. But relationship work, that's not the work. The work is that we negotiate and we navigate our challenges together. We go hand in hand. Anytime an adversity come together, we work at it together. We put both our shoulders forward and we go ahead and make it work as a team. That's how we do it. We respect each other individually. We take the time to really be a team. Here's the things that we do together. We celebrate our wins. Whenever we win something or our achievements, we take time to celebrate those victories together. We do that. We embrace our vulnerability. It's okay to say, honey, I just don't have a clue right now. Help me. I don't understand. It's being vulnerable is a cornerstone of our relationships, our partnership. If I can come to you and say, baby, look, I just don't know how to handle this. I don't know what to do in this situation. And she can say, babe, get behind me. I got it. Here's what you got to do. Or she can give some instructions, or he can give some instructions. There are some men that cook better than the woman do. There are some men that sew. And it's what you do. Did you want to say something in that? Oh, you didn't know? You didn't even
No.
yet.
I'm sorry. What am I doing? You should be hearing me. No.
When your square light up, that's normally when you're talking to the mic, and that's what alerts me to you. And I'm sorry about that. But when you do these
Okay.
things, and here's the biggest part. You have to always confirm. You have to confirm that you got to confirm your commitment with your partner. You always got to let your partner know that you got their back. You mine. You always got to confirm that. They should never have to guess, is he still in love with me? Is she still in love with me? I'm still his main guy, his main girl. You always got to confirm that. They should never have to guess. That's the key. Because a lot of times, if you're not affirming that on a regular basis, then they think that you're not in love with them, and they might look for the interest somewhere else. Somebody at the job might be smiling or giggling or whatever, and it may be a slip.
Right.
But
And you said something earlier about affirming and my mind went back to like even celebrating one another when there are
yes,
accomplishments,
yes,
including their birthday, because you're
yes,
glad they're here another year, that they're here with you,
yes.
and that you all are still together.
And that's
Yes.
part about respecting individually, respecting your individuality. And each partner bring a unique essence to the relationship. Each one you have brings something extra, because there's some life experiences you had that I didn't have. There's some
Right.
talents and gifts that God has given you that he didn't give me or give her. So when you bring that to a relationship, our relationship now is twofold.
Yes.
So these things are very, very important. So when you get to understand that y'all roles kind of weave a strong protective core, that makes all the difference in the world. When you and your partner is working on these things, when you recognize your communication, when you're working in unity and in strength, when you pull together, when you support each other's dreams, baby, what's important to you? What are some of the things you want to do? I want to lift you as we come up together. I want to inspire you. When you tell your boo you want to inspire them, you want to lift them up, what are your dreams? Man, nobody never asked him what is his dreams. Nobody
Right.
sat her down and said, baby, what's important to you? What are your dreams? When that's happening in your own household with your boo, that's some great stuff. You can't beat that. And you're getting to celebrating the small wins as well as the big wins.
Right.
These things are so important in a relationship. You got to remember that. So first thing, you got to understand your role in the relationship. What's your roles in a relationship? What do you bring to it? How can you make it special? How can you make it better? These things, and that's how you thrive together. That's how you thrive together. That's how you grow together. I'm lifting you up as we rise and grow together. Now, there's a thing that they say is that the tide lift all the boats, that a rising tide lift all the boats. That's a true statement, but if you stuck at the bottom because you don't think you appreciate it, or you don't think you're being loved, and everything rises and you stay at the bottom, that's a problem. That's a problem. So I want to lift you as we rise so we both can rise together. That's important, you guys. That's important. And the thing about it, when you can do it hand in hand, that's when you have something. That's when you have something. That's Felicia. How you doing, Felicia?
I'm doing well.
Okay, share, Felicia. How do you figure talk about relationships? What are some of the things you think you can do in a relationship to make a relationship better?
I get you.
Smiles. A lot of smiles help. That's the first one. That's your approval. When
I
you
get
smile, you show approval. So you can start off right already.
I get you.
You put her in a hot seat.
I know, but
He always
I
put
miss
me in a
having
hot
you on this,
seat.
so I was just happy to bring you forward. But you're right. The first thing
I mean,
is smile.
it's
Go ahead, Felicia. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
it takes. I mean, it takes some work. It does take work.
Mm-hmm.
I was having just for example, I was having a conversation with someone that I used to date, some years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and and it goes back to the person that has gotten so comfortable with as friends, that now they want to change the relationship back to, to something more serious. But we, like I told him, that the dynamic of the friendship, now you want to turn the relationship, and even though we dated some years ago, now you want to turn the dynamics from a friend to now a relationship, because now you see and you have an interest, because you don't want to back out in the dating world, but it has made an awkward situation for our friendship when we were friends for so many years after we from the relationship, and it's now it's changed the dynamics. And so, and thing is not that he's not a good person, but I have developed our friendship, and our communication was more open. So now he's difficult to, it's made an awkward situation for our friendship and our relationship. And I think and so the expectation is, it makes it difficult for me to move forward with the friendship, because it's hard to, because every time I see him, it's there. I feel pressure now, because now it's like the level, and so so it's difficult for me to maintain a friendship there. So with the person, so it's hard to shift the
Shift your feelings?
shift my feelings from
Right. As a matter of fact, you helped me transition to our next part of this, understanding the roles in their relationship, because you and him have a relationship, but in your mind, it's a friendship relationship. In his mind, it's time to take that friendship a little higher. And that's because, see, you said two important words in your speech, in your conversation right now. You say y'all communicate more, and you say y'all communicate more openly. Right. So now he's gotten communication for you. Now he's getting trust from you. So right. Remember that three-legged stool I was talking about earlier when Glenda first started, and she said communication, and she said that for a relationship to work nowadays, it has to be the communication, trust, and that third pillar that can make a relationship work is called support. So he's got 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So he figures there's some chance there, because you're communicating more, and now he's got trust. So if you support him, that will be a robust relationship, which means next level. So I understand where he's coming from, but you're right. You got to have your own boundaries. You know what your boundaries are, and your boundaries are that it's not going to work. So you're right. That's not going to work. But
the problem is that the problem is that when we dated in 2002, we dated almost 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So now your comfort level with me is as a friend. So now you don't know how to date me, because now you don't know how to date me just because you know me as a friend, but you still have to date me. Mm-hmm. You understand? You still got to date me. You got to date me like I date me. So you still have to date me. So just because you know me, you can't just drop your comfort level. You just can't you can't stay in that comfort zone and want to, get with me and not know how to date me, So that's how I look at it. So just because we've been friends. So as friends, we weren't dating as friends. We were just we were just supporting one another, like you said, and having conversation. But now you want to be a part of my life again as a relationship, but you don't want to date me. And that ain't gonna work.
But see, you said those 3 things. You just said all 3 of them now. You just said communication, you said trust, and you said support you. So I did. You got 3 out of 3.
Yeah, he does. If you want me to be, if you want to keep my attention and for me to be with you and falling back in love with, I'm not in love with him now. I'm not in love with him.
He has to make you a priority.
That's right. I'm not in love with him. So I loved him as a friend, that's what we've been for the last X number of years. But I don't love him to be with him in the relationship. So
Right.
now if you want me to change my feelings, to shift my feelings from friend to love, I love him as a friend.
Mhm.
Now you want to shift you want to shift things from friend, you want to change from friend to relationship now. So I don't love him like that.
Right.
And that's what we call exploring traditional roles. It's going from a provider to a caregiver, and then evolving the roles even further with time. And that's the gap you guys are in right now. He feels that the role should evolve with time, and you're saying no, guy. The more time has been, the more established you're gonna just be a friend. So I understand, and that's where communication is the key. And you have to have an honest dialogue to foster understanding in any connection. And that communication you've given him is great. So you're doing what you need to be doing. You're communicating honestly from your heart, and that honest dialogue is real true. So you're doing what you need to do. He might be a slow learner.
Yeah, I don't
With him along
yeah.
the way.
Well, I don't want to give him false,
False hope.
yeah,
Mhm.
false hope that something's going to change, that there's an opportunity there, because not saying that he's not, a good guy, or he has all the qualities of being a good guy, but, again, I know what I had with him in the past, and so he has not shown me anything for the future.
Mhm.
So from what I know from the past, it was not a good, stable relationship. So it was like, a lot of faulty things were going on, and so from that's why we departed from one another.
Mhm.
But we maintained a friendship for the last 10 to 15 years. So now that I'm still single. So now he wants to shift the friendship, because now I'm looking pretty hot to him. So so okay.
Okay.
So just like that movie, I was trying to think of that movie that Julia Roberts played in. It's just like that movie. She was friends with the guy, but when he's moving, they've been friends and they loved each other. And they were friends. You can become very friends. And then now that he found somebody that he's gonna marry, he wants her to come and be a part of his wedding because she's his best friend, be the best woman, like the best man. But she wants him now, and she's now because somebody else wants you, I want you. I'm just like that movie. I can't think of the
Right.
name of it, but
He's
it's
what he has missed. He's seeing what he missed. If he would have stuck in it, if he would have stuck in it long enough the first time around and built that trust and provided that support, maybe you guys wouldn't have broken up.
Well, if he had got himself together, he needed to get himself together.
Right.
So,
He just matured late.
Right. And so,
and now it's like, oh, she's still single, and I'm not gonna let her get away because I know what I had, and it was good.
Right.
Mhm.
I was immature, but now I'm ready.
Right.
But you can't turn love on like that.
Right.
Like a light switch. It don't work.
Right. And sometimes you got to realize that once you miss your opportunity, it's gone. Sometimes you cannot get it back, because if a person is comfortable within their selves, they may not want to make that shift from being friends to being in a relationship with you. So sometimes as grown-ups, we have to look at things as if, do I, look at their potential and see, okay, can this be a little bit more? Can I groom him? Can he groom me to be the man or woman that we want them to be? And sometimes we miss the boat. We miss all the signs. Like we try to talk about, we're supposed to recognize the red flags, but sometimes you can have a good woman or man sitting right in your face and you could just miss them for all the wrong reasons. Just like, the guy that Felicia is talking about, she's mature as well as he has matured since their first the beginning relationship before they parted ways. But now, something happened and sparked his attention. Now he's like, oh man, maybe
And Felicia don't want to go backwards.
Well, yeah, that's true too, because I know that's me. If we missed our opportunity, I'm not circling back. I know that for myself, but in Felicia's case, you know, he realized that he had something good and he let it go. And now he's trying to come back and pick it up. And she's like, I'm not picking up what you're putting down. She's like, I just like us the way we are. We are friends and I want to keep it that way. And then on top of that, just because we're back together communicating and, you know, talking more and building that trust, you know, there's more that you have to do because I'm not 21 anymore. My expectations are different now. You, like she said, I want to be dated. I want to go out. I want to travel. I want to spend time with someone so we can grow and build a relationship. They're coming over to the house, chit chat and talking on the phone, text message. Oh, okay. That's high school and college. We grown folks now.
Hello.
Yep, and that's where the transparency and the empathy and encouragement, and that's a mutual growth. That's where all that comes into play. So that's a good way of putting that together, Glenda. So that's good. Appreciate that. So like you guys said, it's time to break the barriers and thrive in love. And like you said, you're not 21 no more. So yes, let's embrace our journeys. Our journeys now. In order to thrive, you got to embrace your journey and your experiences that you had in the past is what shaped you going forward. So you got to realize that. And like you say, you don't stay in that one spot. You continue to move on. And that's when that lift and grow together. If we lift and grow and you ain't growing and you going down, I'm going up, we got some issues. We got some issues. We got some issues. Now, let's go to the third part of this, with the part that really talks about outside. What's happening outside of your relationship. Now, when you talk about relationship, you think about what's happening in your own heart. Majority of you say, well, hey, look, you know, what's going on in my own heart? And you says, we're not thriving because there's something working inside of you that's contrary to what's working inside of me, and we can't grow that way. But there's another part of this thing. There's external pressures that create issues in our relationship. And those external pressures are societal expectation, cultural influences, and economical disparity in our race. Those things make it difficult because society pressure on us now is really strong. When you talk about what are some of the things you got to go through for pressure now, the black family now, a third or more of our kids in the black neighborhoods are raised by single parents.
Right.
They're not two parents in a house. And a matter of fact, the majority of those households are run by a single woman, a single mom. So that's creating a problem right now. So the kid, when they go home every day, they're looking at one parent. They're not looking at a couple.
Right.
And if they're looking at a couple, that's somebody's shacking or somebody's visiting mom or somebody's visiting pop.
Right.
It's not a stable relationship like a mother and father going home to every day. Right. So that plays on a child's and a person's mind. So that's one thing you got to deal with. And then what are your values when you start negotiating, when you start navigating your different values? You know, if your value as a single parent is getting through the day, I don't want to be in a relationship with nobody. I don't want to date nobody. I don't want to be with nobody. I ain't got time for that foolishness. What are you telling your child? What are you telling the child? So these are things that we go through, and also part of it, if you always struggling for $1 and your economical status is always struggling for $1, what do you have time for?
Nothing.
Correct. When you can't afford to go on vacations, when you can't afford to buy flowers, when you can't afford to buy diamonds or jewelry or a new suit of clothes. You know, what do? Come over and sit on the couch, look at a movie? You know, but these things are things that's happening. The stereotypes that we go through as Black people it's really rough. It kind of puts us in a smaller container. And how do you negotiate that? How do you love past that? If society has put you in a little small box, you working, mom, you working all the overtime you can get, or pop, you working all the overtime you can get. So when you come home, you tired. Matter of fact, you fall asleep at the TV. So help me out. Help me out. Anybody else want to share their thoughts about that?
I want to say something.
Go ahead.
I think like what you said when it started. I think you said like you got to celebrate things. I think like you see in society, everybody don't make the same amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And a relationship is not all about money. It's not all about travel. It's not all about this. It's about you. It's about you two or your family. It's about you together. And what you have, you can take your small something and have a good big time with it. You just have to decide for yourself what's good for you in your relationship, not looking at what's on the outside, what everybody else is doing, because eventually you can get to that point if that's where you two want to go. But if you don't have it like that, okay, you can come and sit on my sofa, even though I'm a grown person, but we got to make this a date night. We got to really do what we got to do. We got to have our music, our popcorn, our wine, our whatever. You know what I'm saying? We got to put ourselves into it. We got to set the environment. It ain't just you looking at me, my hair not done, you looking terrible. And no, it's about us getting our stuff together. So you can take your little bit of nothing and make something big out of it. But you plan for late. You're doing all this now in order that later you can get to do something else bigger and better. That's the way.
Yes. And that's also for a single parent, because I can remember what my mom did for us. And so we celebrate as a result of that, because even though when we didn't have mom and dad both in the house anymore, everybody's birthday, we celebrated them.
Yeah.
We would bake a cake, and we made tuna fish and crackers and cheese and fruit and something to drink, and we celebrated whichever one of us had a birthday. And that eventually, it's in us. So we, even as adults, and we try to pass that on to our children. So that the part of celebrating, appreciating, and loving and caring and showing that we do to one another. And that carries over into a relationship.
Right.
Yeah, that's bringing joy, taking your small something and bringing joy out to it.
Absolutely. The best out of a bad situation.
Yeah.
Right. Taking lemons and making some lemonade.
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly.
Using what you have.
Yep.
What is it you have in the kitchen?
Right.
That's right.
You know, what a lot of our issues now is that our kids and maybe a few on this line right now, you miss the Black community. When I came up, we had the Black community. Even if you was raised by a single parent, you had the Black community. The Black community loved you. They would have things like sock hops. They would have things like talent shows. The church was the center of the neighborhood. And these things, your community with the village loved you. The Black community loved you. Our kids right now, we don't have a Black community. We have a few neighborhoods, but we really don't have a Black community now. So our kids don't have nowhere that somebody's going to love them. As a matter of fact, when our kids leave the house, we worried to death, are they going to make it back home?
Right.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about love. We're not talking about them loving somebody. We're talking about them being away, being protected from somebody.
Yes, and covered. Yeah. So different times. So we gotta
correct. So how do we transition those pressures and teach our kids to love and teach ourselves to love? Because a lot of us now, we don't love now because we're so protective and so afraid of who's around us. And COVID didn't make it any better, because now, you don't want to be up close to anybody anyway. But now, how do we figure that out? How do we allow ourselves to be open and allow ourselves to love again? How do we do that?
On purpose.
Okay, correct. On purpose is one way of doing it.
Do it. Yeah.
Just do it. Okay, just do
Just
it.
do it. But it's not always a feeling, but it's the right thing to do. It's the best thing to do.
You know,
Because
do you want to love harder? Do you want to love stronger? Do you want to feel love? Do you want to give love? Do you want to share love?
Yeah.
Okay, I ain't got one yet.
Oh, I thought you was about to say something else.
Say it, Glenda. This is your program. Say it, Glenda. What you gonna say?
No, I was like, I thought you was continue. I didn't want to talk over you. I thought you was still talking. But yeah, she's right. You know, I want that definitely, but I'm not willing to settle for it.
Right.
That's something. But you have to open your heart. You have to first be vulnerable for love. You first have to realize that you're half of that equation.
Of course.
You have that equation. So if you're gonna close yourself off, 50% of your chance of being loved is closed off.
Yeah.
So but you still have to take into consideration that even when you're being open and vulnerable, you know, a lot of nonsense and foolishness comes your way. So you have to, you know, look out for the dudes that have bad intentions towards you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's easier said than done, but, you know, openness and being vulnerable is a key to the equation. But, you know, just be looking out and paying attention to the red flags, because someone is start talking or acting, you know, outside themselves. And you're like, oh, no, I already been here, done that. I don't want no parts of that, dude. Peace out.
Okay, guys, we didn't pass our 30-minute mark. We passed our 40-minute mark. We passed our 50-minute mark. So we're coming to the last 7 minutes. Tonight, you guys went kind of fast, but let's end on talking about some concrete strategies that we can use to strengthen our partnership. Let's talk about some strategies. Now, do anybody want to share any strategies they know that we can put into practice right now to strengthen our relationship? So well, let's unlock some of those secrets.
I think it was Angela. She said something about date night.
Yes,
date night.
Mm-hmm.
You could start implementing date night, and you know, cut the TV off, turn the music off, and just have a one-on-one conversation. You know, make it like, you know, like a game. You know, tell me some of your, you know, your long-term goals or some of your ambitions and stuff like that. Tell me something, you know, that you haven't told me before.
Yes.
Right, make a snack and get a glass of wine and let's talk about it.
Don't make a meal because you don't want to get them full and they want to fall asleep. Just make a little cheese and crackers.
Yes.
And don't give them their favorite alcohol either, because they might get a little tipsy and that conversation might go somewhere else and y'all go from the living room to the bedroom.
What's wrong with that?
You'll be fine with a little muscadine red wine. That's a strong grape.
That's right.
Oh, wow. Right. Now we're talking about some intentional strategies, and we're talking about going from active listening to conflict resolution. And the first thing, active listen. You got to engage with empathy. You got to understand, and you got to do it without judgment. You got to do it without judgment. Conflict resolution. You got to approach disagreements with patience, respect, and compromise. You know, when we started the conversation, somebody said self-care, self-love. You got to nurture your own well-being before you can support your partner, because if you nurture yourself, you can support your partner better because you're a stronger person.
Right.
Setting boundaries, clear limits to respect each other. You got to respect each other's autonomy. You got to realize that you're different people who decide to come together. You got to understand that. You could get your own. Go ahead, Angela.
I was saying, and being open to change, because maybe your spouse wants to say, well, listen, part of your self-care, even though you are a man, let's go and get your feet massaged. Or let's go, I want you to get a massage today. And, you know, or I get one next week, I'll get a facial and you get a massage. So some men, you know, are not open to stuff, but you don't even know it until you do. You're
right.
That is awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Your feet hold your whole body.
Show
Yes,
enough.
And you
yes.
have men have trigger points in their feet.
Oh, wow.
That
They
means
have
that
trigger
they'll be a little
points in their
freely with their
feet.
wallet.
Yes. So you got to be careful where you take them to get these things because they have trigger points.
Yeah.
They saying being open to new things.
Yes, yes.
As simple as that. Even your hands, you work with your hands and you work with your feet. So why wouldn't you want to go and do this? It's not like it's a feminine thing. And if it is, so what? You have some estrogen in you. Just be open.
That's right, right. Yeah, you don't want
This
everything to
is
always be at home.
awesome.
You want to get
You,
out and
Yeah.
try new things, long walks in the park or even a
What I was
trail in
thinking,
the
Right.
neighborhood.
that's right. Get off the sofa. Let's take a 30-minute
Right.
walk and talk.
I feel
Right.
truly encouraged by what you guys talked about tonight.
All right. I want you to use some of these strategies, Mr. Carpenter.
Yes, we'll use these strategies. We're gonna commit to using these strategies, and let's not let the conversation end here. Have this conversation with some of your friends, some of your colleagues, some of your family. Have this conversation because this is something that's really important for us to grow and leave that legacy of love and compassion. Okay. Anybody in our audience want to say anything
Okay.
before we close out? Go ahead, Annette.
No,
Okay. All right.
Get light in the
Anybody
morning.
that haven't spoke tonight want to close us out before we close out?
Hi, Barbara.
I did want to say
Hi.
the handout is in the chat. Hopefully you guys can see it. If you want to download it from our little chat, if you want to go ahead and download it and have it for your records and maybe make notes on it. I should have said something earlier in the conversation, but my apologies.
Let me share a surprise with you guys. Coming up very, very soon, Glenda is going to launch her coaching practice, and her coaching practice is going to be internet. It's going to be a live virtual coaching. So, and that's something that she'll talk about later on. But I just want to let the cat out the bag because we're going somewhere with this Sunday night at 9. And some of the things you said and some of the things you guys let out here are very interesting things that we'll grow with and grow from. If no one has anything to say, you want to close us out? Glenda, you want me to close us out?
You can go ahead. You've been doing so well so far.
It's been fun. It's been real. You guys are an awesome group. I love it. Remember that this framework is where you and 20 of your girlfriends are sitting in your living room and you're able to have a quiet and a safe space that you can tell your truths. Because some of the things you say, just to hear it come out your mouth is therapeutic. It actually gives you a chance to release some of that toxic, let it go, to break those barriers that's been holding you back. So look forward to seeing you next Sunday night at 9, same place, same time. Thank you. See you next week, guys. Bye.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night. Okay, we're